two, one, two, one, two. What's up, everybody? Good to see all of you guys here today, online. Good to see you as well. This is part two. This is part two. So get ready. Bring it down for me. Next part. I want you to look at these words right here. If you believe it, I want you to say it with me. Say it out loud. This is the word of truth. I believe every word it says. I will act on my belief. Those actions produce unlimited success. In the chat, can you say unlimited success? In the house, can you say unlimited success? How many of you know we serve a God of generations? So we're going to get right into this here. We got a lot to cover here today. This series is really dealing with how do we go into the world and preach this gospel. You know, the reason you go to the mechanic is because you cannot fix your car. The reason you cannot fix your car is because you don't understand the inner workings of the car. So you go to someone that understands it. It's the same thing for an electrician. But if you understood the inner workings of the car, you would fix your own car. Or you would fix your own bulbs. You cannot fix what you don't understand. So you cannot self-regulate if you do not understand the inner workings of something. And this is what this series is really doing. I'm slowing down so that to give you the ability to understand. So the end result, you will be able to self-regulate. And that is what God wants us all to do. Amen. So the title of this message, this is part two. When you see it, it's already late. Let's get right into it. The next slide. I want you to look at this right here. This is what I would call life's timeline. This is how life works. You receive an idea. Everything that you are, you were taught it. Every single thing. Your reasoning, the things you do and you do not do, is because someone planted a thought in you, and those ideas became faith. Another word for faith is believe. We learned that last week. Check it out on YouTube, by the way, Sir Hall, to see part one. Those ideas became beliefs. And out of those strong beliefs, because not every idea you believe or not every idea you follow, but out of those strong beliefs, it causes you to act. You behave a certain way because of what you eventually believe in. And it's those actions that produces tangible thing, the manifestation. So that's why the message is, when we see manifestation, all of this has already happened. It's way late. Okay? Now, today we're going to cover a few things. Where in this timeline is God pleased? Next slide. God is pleased at belief. Manifestation is late. God is pleased all the way here. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. So where is God pleased? Right here. So there's two ways to look at it. Without believing God's idea, you will never reach to God's harvest. And in essence, what you're doing, you're robbing God of what he wants to do for you. So if you don't believe God's ideas, belief is a choice. Again, you don't have to believe. So if you believe God's idea, you will reach to God's harvest. So that's one way to look at it. The second thing is, God is pleased at the phase of faith. So that means we can please God and still not reach a harvest. You can please God and still be dead. You can please God and still live a life of defeat. You can please God and still live life, and I love this word, Bishop used to always say it, the life of an underachiever. You can please God and still die as a fool because you didn't reach manifestation. Faith must be completed. We're going to deal with that later. So faith without works is dead. How many of us believe things we do nothing about? Diet and exercise. Look at this, guys. I am fully well aware of the ideas that are needed to get rid of this. I even believe the ideas to get rid of this tummy and to get myself looking real sexy. So I have checks. I know the ideas. I believe them. So God is pleased. But if I don't do anything, I'm living a life pleasing God, but my body is ugly. This will help the church in its prayer life. The clutteredness of the prayer life of the church and the believers, when I say the church, I'm talking about you, a lot of things will be deleted, and we will do more introspection. Remember I said you can't fix what you don't understand the inner workings? So when people ask you for certain prayer requests, because you understand this, can you pray that God give me a job? Okay, hold on. Well, what do you believe about working? Do you believe a man should work? Nah, I believe women should go out there and work. Because I know that's your belief, I'm going to pause and pray. Because now I know what to actually pray for. I need to change his mind. He has a perspective about work that ain't right. Right? So, next slide. We can live life as a believer and still die as an underachiever. These notes right here, for those who don't know, this is my little notes. Whenever you see these here, it's giving you an indication to take notes or to use your phone and grab a screenshot. It's very important that you remember. We're going to deal with that today. Faith is believing, next slide, that I have already completed it. It begins the process. Then I'll begin the process of manifestation. Faith is believing I've already completed it. Then I'll begin the process of manifesting it. If I'm to believe I am in love with a woman, you will eventually see a wedding. We dealt with some of that last week. If I believe I'm a recording artist, which I am, by the way, got 7 albums out there. Please go check them out, Sir Hall. Don't hate T. I hear you. If I believe I'm a recording artist, you will eventually hear or see or touch my albums, my song. If I believe I'm a phenomenal book writer, I'm an awesome writer, I should eventually see, next slide for me, T, the books. I want to do a little exercise here. I told you I'm slowing it down. Facebook, you guys can chime in here. I believe I am, and I want you to fill in the blanks here. I believe I am, filling the blanks. Get it in your mind, because I want 2 to 3 people to stand and shout it out. T, let me get Mike M1. Never mind, I see it right here with Bishop. I believe I am blank. You will eventually see, hear, feel, smell my. So, for example, I believe I am a baker. You will eventually be dining in my shop. So what do you want to be, or let me do it better, what do you believe you are called to do? In other words, what are you good at? I believe I'm a talker. I love to talk. In fact, I talk too much. You will eventually see me on the news. I will eventually be a radio host. Because talking is a lot of money nowadays. Podcast is billions of dollars. So, I need some volunteers. Let me get this mic here, Bishop. Thank you, thank you. Who's going to try it? I believe I am. Who's going to try this? So many hands. I don't know. All right, my lovely wife, Chanel. Come on up to because we don't have a movement camera. Come on up. So she's going to try this. And this is going to be your confession, guys. Take a screenshot. So go ahead.
I believe, thank you. I believe I am a connector, right? Network with other people and connect them. You will eventually see me connecting with people from various walks of life and then connecting those people with each other.
Very good, very good. Let's give it up for her. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if you're online, Jada, make sure you put this up big for them. Take a screenshot of this. And this needs to be your confession. This needs to be your confession. I'm going to teach this why later. You need to, Lord of mercy, let's go. We get in there. Let's go to the next slide here. For time, I'm going to keep moving because I don't think I have a volunteer. Do I have another volunteer? I don't want to force anybody. All right, cool. We're going to move on. So, faith, we're talking about where do you please God in the timeline of success of life? You please God right here. And we already discussed that you can be poor, you can be unsuccessful, you can be living a defeated life, but still make it to heaven, and God is pleased because you believe, because we understand that we don't always act on everything we believe. Amen to that, right? All right. So, faith is the closest tool we have to touch God. We're going to deal with that later. Faith or belief is in the realm of the invisible. God dwells and does all of his work. Hold on, I think I'm getting a feedback here. In the realm of the invisible. Where does God do his work? Here. God does his part of the bargain. His duties are done here. So, when we are mortal men and we are looking to an eternal God for help, it's a contract. There's things that only God can do, and there's things that I have to do. God does his part here. For you to get here, that's your part. Okay? Keep that in mind. But God, I want you to understand, we're going to spend a little time here on who God is. God is instant. Somebody say that. God is instant. All right? It is so difficult for the human being to comprehend instant because we live our whole existence in a process. We have time. Everything takes time. But with God, everything is now. Okay? The picture we humans see of God being Alpha and Omega is one such like this. God is Alpha and he is Omega. This is not the real picture of God. What God is Alpha and Omega. He is everything is in him. The realm of time is in God. God is not somewhere in one of the galaxies. God is outside of all of that. It is in him we live, we move, and we have our being. So God is in everything is in God. So that's why God is instant. This will help you to recognize why, when God said he's the very present help. You see, if God is Alpha and Omega, when he is here, he's not there. If you have this timeline of God, it affects your belief, because you will believe that certain things you may have to wait. But with God, no. God can do anything, right? I need you all to see that picture of God. He's a very present help in a time of trouble. There is no confinement to God except that he confined himself. This is how crazy powerful this God is. We understand all the limitations of the human. God has none. He is so in charge of everything, and everything is in him. The only thing that can find him is himself. And what is that? His word. He honors his word above himself. The only thing in this world that is the closest to get us to where God lives in the realm of instant is belief. Belief is the only tool you can switch and just choose to believe. This is why here is where you please God. It's the closest to where God is, belief. We can turn it on and off. Bishop, you're in my notes right here. Right here, I was about to say, God is. Bishop just said it. God is not trying to become. God is. Bishop, you are in my notes. He says, I am the I am. Let's go to the next slide there. And this is where God is speaking to Moses, trying to tell him, yo, bro, you got to go to Egypt and get my people out, right? But Moses protested, said, if I go to the people of Israel and tell them, the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? I believe God started to laugh right here. And he said, yo, Gabe, you hear this guy? Gabriel, the angel. He said, yo, Gabe, you hear this guy? What is my name? Then what should I tell them? God replied to Moses, I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel. I am what? I am his sent. I think I messed up something there. The I am that sent you, yes. I should have changed the wording of that. God said to Moses, this is God, I am the I am. You know what that is? There is no description in the English language to describe God. The best thing we can come up with is that God is. And then I begin to say, you know what, God, you are. And it didn't sound right. I said, no, God, you is. I'm not an English major, but for some reason, is sound more instant than are. God, you are kind of way. It's like, maybe he's, maybe not. The is sounds more, pow, right away. And I said, I'm going to start to say that God, you is. And you know why it fits? Because when you begin to really study God, I'm not going to go deeper than this. God violates all the rules we have. It's crazy. So it sounds wrong. I'm in a good place. God is the very present help in the time of trouble. Now, let's see how God is instant. Let's go to Isaiah there. I think it's the next one. Do not forget this. Keep it in your mind. Remember this. You guilty ones, remember the things I have done in the past. Hold on. Before we continue here, I have to put a pause here and deal with this thing called remember. Do not forget this. Keep it in your mind. Remember it. Whenever you see God is saying something 3 times, it's very important. It's the same as verily, verily, I say unto thee, as you see in the old King James. It's God is saying, hey, stop, pay attention. So let's stop and pay attention. Remember this. How do you obey? Go to the next slide for me, T. We're going to come back to this in a second here. How do you obey? Next slide. 2 things. First thing is, obeying, it's a choice. You have to choose to obey. And that can be instant. You can choose it in an instant. The second thing, you have to, this is the one I want to focus on. The second one, T, you have to remember to obey. You cannot celebrate or appreciate what you don't remember. If I cannot recall what you have done for me, the level of appreciation will not be the same as when I remember what you've done for me. So God is telling them, before we get into how God is instant, he's like, hey, put this in your mind. Remember this. Don't forget it. Don't take it out your mind. And here we see Moses is encouraging the children of Israel to obey the Lord as they are about to enter the promised land. So they have already went through 40 years. They're at the edge of the promised land now, and they're about to go in. And Moses is encouraging them to, hey, man, y'all need to remember the Lord your God, and all this stuff, right? Going to the next one. And it says, and you must commit yourself wholeheartedly to these commands that I am giving you today. Here we see that it's a choice. You have to choose to obey, right? And then it says, repeat them again and again to your children. Repeat them again and again to your children. Let's continue. He says, talk about them when you are at home, when you are on the road, that rhymes, when you are going to bed, and when you are getting up. Tie them to your hands and wear them on your forehead as reminders. Write them on the doorposts of your house. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, here is the marketing strategy of all Fortune 500 companies. They took it from right here. Nike, Gatorade. This is the marketing strategy. Why do you have such a high reverence for your Gucci bag? Let's be real. Women, if you get a Gucci bag, the big expensive one, your walk is a little bit crisper. Hello. Guys, when you get that, I don't know what the most famous shoes is, the Jordans, so you walk with a little bit of a kick. You fresh. Why is the reverence so high? Because Nike and Gucci has put their thoughts, their ideas in your home, on the road, in the train. When you're going to bed, it's on the phone. It is on your Apple Watch. You see the TikToks of everyone who celebrates when they have a Gucci bag. All of these are what? Reminders. And the constant reminders grows appreciation. Let me case in point. Everyone would argue in this building and online that you are the biggest lover and supporter of your last name. I'm a Hall, proud. Stop playing games. If I take your last name and put it on a sneaker for the boys, and I take your last name and I put it on a bag, and I give that to you with a Gucci, I don't know why Gucci's in my head, Gucci bag or a nice sneakers, which one you taking? You're taking Gucci. You heard it? She said Gucci. But you would argue your name is the most thing you are proud of. Give me the one with my name on it. But why would you drop your proud name for Gucci? It tells how reminders have caused you to lessen or de-appreciate the value of who you think you are in terms of an idea. You know, I just figured this out a couple months ago, that my dyslexia was a blessing from God. I didn't learn to read. At 16 years old, I could only read 3-letter words. And even today, Hannah is a better reader than me. And Hannah is 10. I read slow. But I realize how it's a benefit. Because I'm able to decode the word of God. Because I move slow. And I many times have to read twice and 4 and 6 before, oh, okay. And God has told me, he said, that's why you are. So that you can slow people down. Cause them to realize why they are the way they are. The devil is trying to speed us up so we miss the inner workings of things. You ask anybody that's a professional, they had to stop and go and learn the inner workings. Now they are a pro, and you call them. So, when God showed me this, I said, and this is, if you notice me, I don't like to wear people's name. By the way, I was looking for the clip, I couldn't find it. Most everything that you know that's famous is somebody's last name. I don't know why Gucci's in my head. It's just in my head. Whatever last, Wells Fargo, McDonald's, all the famous things, it's not some mystical company, it's somebody's name. You feel completed, or you feel, maybe that's a stretch, you feel like I've arrived because you have someone's name on your body, or you are carrying their name. You know what God told me when I saw this? He said, shame on you. You are conditioned. You know who used to talk like this all the time? But he's not as articulate as I am. Kanye West. For those who know, young people, y'all know what I'm talking about. This is what Kanye West is talking about. We are conditioned daily by the Fortune 500 companies on what to believe for yourself because of how they remind you of things. I gotta go. Put it, how do we change? I like to give actionable steps. How do you change this? It's right here. Whatever you want to see, make sure you put it in the places that can remind you. How often do you go home? Often. How often are you on the road? You need to carry it somewhere. Instead of carrying a Gucci, now you can put labels on everything. Make your own stuff. What is this? Y'all didn't know. This is my signature from my hand. I'm wearing me. And I refuse to put on any other garment. And my back is more straight. My back will be the straightest because of my name. I am proud of me. Why am I doing this though? Not to be rebellious, because I am conditioning myself to not fall prey to the society. This is why you must do it. Put it on your bed. You spend a lot of time in the bed. Right up there. Remember Bishop used to say, write it on your wall. Now watch this. Put it on your hands. I like this part. Where is it? Put it on your forehead. You can't see your forehead, but who could see it? And then watch this one. Put it on the doorpost. Here is something that God showed me. You don't realize how often you see your doorpost. You don't even notice that you see it so often. The knob, you know how often you touch that knob? If you put something that's written right at the knob, the amount of times you are reminding yourself of that thing, it begins to wash you mentally. I was having a conversation with my son about his screensaver. Do you know how often you see your screensaver? The amount of times we go on our phone? What you put as your screensaver becomes a constant reminder to you. So whatever you put there, after a while you start to think that way. You start to behave that way because you're seeing it. And then even when you think you're not seeing it, because it's at a position of or a place of reminding you all the time, your gates, how often you see your gates. One of the things we have to get back to in our homes, we need to start putting up large signs, as if you have a business of goodness. Use our yards. Don't just, when the politicians are, running for office, they come and say, can you stick this in your yard? No, make your own sign. Put it in the yard. The Lord is my shepherd. I say, you don't have to do a Bible verse, but say something nice. You are helping to wash people with reminders. Reminders are important. I need a bigger word. Reminders are crucial. Reminders are a must. Whatever bigger word you can find, I need you to find that. To remind yourself that reminders. This is why, hold up. No. Whatever I can cause you to remember, especially at a young age, you will grow in faith to honor it. Whatever I can remind you, especially at a young age, you will grow in belief to honor it. Because your memory is what drives us. Reminders create memories. And do you know that it's your memory that drives you? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Yeah, as a man thinks, but your memory, what you are able to recall. You know the purpose of the commandments? And there's more than 10 commandments, folks, that you don't know. There's 600 and something, I don't know, some crazy number. We only know 10. We highlighted 10, but there's a bunch of commandments, right? Do you know the purpose of the commandments is to help your memory. Let me try to emphasize this here. Don't kill. God understands the importance of reminders to help you walk a certain way to protect your memory. It is proven, even soldiers that are commanded to go and kill. Everyone who has killed somebody will tell you, I am never the same after that. It does something to the human. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, all these things, right? But don't violate a person. Because what it does, it creates a memory. You know what? The drug addict is not addicted to the substance. They are addicted to the memory. Because the drug doesn't fly and come back into their mouths or hands. They go and get it by action. But why? Because when they remember. Postpartum, the soldiers, what they call it, the soldiers, PSD, PST, PTS, one of those. It's somewhere in there. The soldiers that are dealing with this traumatic stuff, notice the action has ceased a long time. But what is lingering is when they remember. Now you should understand why Jesus coined the phrase. He said, listen, you have to be born again. Behold, all things are passed away, and your memories become new. What happens to someone that is delivered? It's not that they forget the memory, but it's how they are remembering the memory that changes the person. The lens in which I am viewing the traumatic event is what is causing me to experience victory or not victory. This is why the blood of the Lamb comes in front of the traumatic memory and causes you to view the same memory through the grace of God. This is why every person needs Jesus. He's the only human blood that exists. God didn't have no blood. I don't have time. You got to check my video on why Jesus for that. So this will help us as we're trying to help people. You have bad memories. It will help us on how to pray and not pray and miss. We are all captives to our most frequent memory. We are all captives to our most frequent memory. You see a person that is driven in the gym and they looking so sexy. I'd be so jealous with these guys who be having all the shirts off. Let me tell you something right now. If my body was sexy, I probably would have been here in a tank top. I probably would have been up here in a tank top. Like, yo, what up? Like, you see somebody that's driven in everything. If you are to take their mind and add up the thoughts, you will see the thing that you are seeing, they think most about it. They're always about what I'm doing in the gym, what am I going to do, how I'm going to grow my business, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that. So we see God is telling us, you've got to remember. What helps remembering, let me say this. Most of us, it says, Repeat it to your children. God is generational. If I do part 3, I'm going to deal with that. Most of us in here only remember our Sunday school songs. Well, no, let me phrase that. You can remember verbatim something you have learned when you were, I don't know, whenever you know yourself, 5, 6, 7. But you can't remember a song you learned yesterday. But for some reason, you can remember your kindergarten teacher's name. And you didn't see them in years. Who created everything? Remember, God. We are in God. He's giving us keys to this life. If you teach something to children, it is very hard for them to move away from it. Many of us do a lot of foolish things under the name of tradition. It makes no sense. Logically, you know it makes no sense, but you still do it every year because that is what they told you when you were young. Let's move on here. We're going to deal with traditions. Come back here. Go on to the next one here, 16. Yeah, you can take a picture of this. I said it. We are all captive to our most frequent memory online. Make sure you show them to this big. Take a screenshot. So whenever you see this, it means to fix yourself, you got to work on your memories and make sure you get yourself some good memories. Next one, T. Deuteronomy 16:3. Eat the bread made without yeast. We're dealing with traditions now. Eat the bread made without yeast, is the children of Israel, for 7 days, and the bread you eat must be made without yeast. As when you escaped from Egypt in such a hurry, eat this bread, the bread of suffering. So, here's why. So that as long as you live, you will remember. We have to fix a problem we have. Here we see the right place for traditions. I'm not against traditions that don't make sense. But just understand that everything you do, you're creating memories. All I'm saying is, if we do it, if there is a tradition that doesn't really make any sense, you are allowed to put it in the garbage pile. We're going to do it or we may not do it, but we're not going to make it law. Here, God is showing us where traditions should be established. They should be established as reminders about certain things. Here is the wildness of the society. Juneteenth has just been established, right? Juneteenth, woo, 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 free us, power to the people, holla. We are excited, but we are not following suit on good tactics because we are doing the same thing on Juneteenth that we do on July 4th, barbecuing. How does barbecuing help us to remember the reason for Juneteenth? It doesn't do anything. Here is my point. No problem. But let's not be surprised 1, 2, 3 generations down the road when they have no value or no appreciation for Juneteenth. We shouldn't be surprised because we did not do things to remind them. Instead of barbecuing, we should have a sit down and we rehash. We were brought here on slave ships. They murdered us in the streets. It was legal to burn a black man and hang him on the thing. On Juneteenth, our children should be reminded. Why though? So that they will never forget, because when they remember, it causes them to behave in a way never to repeat that again. Traditions. We need to look at our traditions. Pepper pot. I don't know why we eat pepper pot. I just eat it because I like it. Pepper pot is a Guyanese dish that we eat on Christmas, for those that don't know. Unless no one told me the story. But for me, we just eat pepper pot. Ask me why. I don't know. Now, am I going to teach it to my kids? Yes. Why? I don't know. Because it's ingrained in me. But because of this, I understand, I'm aware now of traditions that I don't have to hold up. That's for fun and games. And I teach that for my kids. That's joke. You don't have to. That's just what a certain group of people do. At the same time, we've got to watch other traditions, because there are some diabolical traditions as well. Not going to deal with that. We got to move on here. Here we see traditions should be established only on the basis that we remember. Let's move on. Deuteronomy 17:18. Here it is. God has this is instructions for a king, how to keep a king as a righteous king. And we can take this and apply it to yourself. How do you become or stay on the path? He says here, when you sit on the throne as a king, you must, here's your part of the agreement. You must copy for yourself. You see the actions? You've got to set things in place. You've got to say, no, this is what we are going to do as a family. This is what I'm going to put on the wall here. This is what I'm going to put on the gate. Copy for himself this body of instructions on a scroll. In the presence of the Levi priests, he must always keep that copy with him. Here again is the strategies of the Fortune 500 companies. These people are planning to make sure you never forget them. Never. Don't forget me. And read it daily as long as he lives. Look what happens. That way, he will learn to fear the Lord, his God. By doing what? Obeying all the terms of these instructions. You see, a lot of times what we do, we try to beat instructions over people instead of doing the work before. If you do the work before, by training and giving them ideas, this becomes automatic for the person. They will fear, just like you have a great reverence for all the brand name. No one beat you over the head with that. No one said, Gucci is good. Gucci is good. Gucci, hey, you hear me? Gucci is good. No one told you that. No one had to be this monster over you. You grew into reverence and respect and honor that you are willing to give your life for Gucci. That's not a stretch. You are willing. You don't believe me? What's money? Money is your life. You're willing to give it just to put it on you. And no one beat you over the head. Same thing we have to do. If we just focus on, I'm going to keep giving you the instructions and create parameters for you to be reminded of them constantly, you will then self-regulate. I wouldn't have to tell you, make sure you read your Bible. When last you read your Bible? When last you pray? And sometimes we have all these long conversations when, no, I should be washing you with the truth. Moving on. What's my time? Oh, I see you. All right. My time is up. All right. So I've practiced. I have a ton of this. I can keep you guys here for at least another day or two. We will never end. It's so long and we go into so many depths. So what I've decided to do, I'm just going to stop wherever I'm at. I'm just going to stop. So we're going to stop right here. And we're going to continue the next time For those who missed part 1, check it out on my YouTube page, Sir Hall. And I'm also going to be posting this one this week. So catch up with part 1 and then part 2. And then I may do an off-campus part 3, meaning not here. I'll just record it in the studio and post it so we can continue this study here. All right? So this is it, guys. I trust that it's been a blessing.